Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are live, and it took me some time. I was a little bit running late and had to take my father to the airport, and it was raining. But we are live. If you are in the Google Hangout room, you will have to click on the broadcast live link, and inshallah, that will take you over to the YouTube live page so that you can join us for the public school and Muslim parenting series, Advocate for Your Children. Inshallah, throughout the school year, I hope to have some more webinars about the public school and Muslim parenting um, for the series. And if you do not know already, this is author and educator Juwaidia coming to you live from Springfield, Massachusetts. So we're going to get started because we're a little bit late. And if you come into the Google Live, the Google Hangouts page, just click on the broadcast sign and you'll be taken over to the YouTube page so that you can join us, inshallah. We really hope that this is beneficial for any parents, Muslim parents, guardians, siblings, and students as well, so that you can learn some tips and tricks to help yourself have a successful school year, inshallah. So without any further ado, we're going to get started. Bismillah. The public school and Muslim parenting series. Why? Well, one of the first things is because, and I'll change that slide so we can look at those issues, inshallah. So much is going on in the world today. So much. Why do you need to be a Muslim parent advocate? So we're going to talk about just some of the things that are going on and the reasons why you need to advocate for your Muslim children in public school. And the reasons why Muslims children are still in public school. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, because also that is an issue. Number one, Islamophobia. Islamophobia is such a huge thing right now, that is affecting everyone, whether you're a student or an employee somewhere, or just a regular citizen, retiree. It doesn't matter. Um, Islamophobia is very prevalent right now, and um, our children are vulnerable. Number two would be religious issues. Um, you need to advocate for your children because of religious issues, whether it's allowing them to a safe and clean place to pray, allowing them to uh, express their opinions about Islam, and to express their Islamic identity, to be excused during other religious holidays or events or activities that go against Islamic principles. You need to advocate for your children. Number three, school funding. Funding issues are so prevalent in many Muslims. We have some in the suburban issues areas where that is not an issue. But if you live in the inner city and you're dealing with urban educational issues, funding is a big issue that can impact your child. Overcrowded classrooms, lack of supplies, overworked teachers who not intentionally, but maybe dealing with so many other things that will affect your children. So school funding is a big one. Community environment issues, the same thing. Um, and this goes for suburban Muslim children as inner city children as well. The community that you're in has a great impact on students, and Muslim children especially. Oftentimes in suburban communities, Muslim children are isolated. There are not enough Muslim children in that school system for them, and so they deal with a separate issue. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, inshallah. Environment also, inner city. Inner city, you have to be very careful in the inner city. There's violence, there's drugs, there's a lot of things that your children are going to see and be exposed to very early on that can have a negative impact on their education. So again, you have to be uh, aware and advocate for your Muslim children. Special education issues, very, very, very big. Um, Autism, from autism to ADD, ADHD, um, you have to advocate for your Muslim children because all of those other things that we just mentioned may be in play as well. So you have a lot of compounding issues on top of the special education issues as well. So you must become an advocate. Behavior issues tied to the special education for boys and girls, different things that we're seeing in the public education system dealing with boys. Um, a lot of female teachers in the public schools who often are either afraid or intimidated or bothered by active young boys, especially if they're minorities, as Muslims are. So they're looking for things that will create some sort of red flag so that sometimes they can, flag them for the special education classes. So you want to be aware of that. Also, the other side for girls, Muslim girls, behavior issues, not so much overactive behavior, but withdrawn. Teachers seeing them not participating, flag to the teacher. They want to expose them. You have a lot of feminists in the school department push them to do things that, again, going back to the religious issues that may not be our Dean of Al Islam. So those are the big six reasons why Muslim parents have to become advocates for their children. We know that in the West, the United States, Europe, um, ideally, it's best for Muslim children to be in Muslim schools. I am a huge advocate for Muslim education. I believe it is um, the best option for our Muslim children is for them to be in Muslim schools surrounded by Muslim educators and other Muslim children. Often, however, in the West, either because of finances or geographical issues where you just don't have a school in your area or it's too far away, it's 30, 40 miles away, and you just can't do it. Um, Muslim children remain in public school systems across the West. Also, then the other option is homeschooling, of course. Um, I'm a big, 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 big homeschooling advocate. It works. It can work. It's not the best. And I'm very vocal about that. I've written about that on my blog many times. Homeschooling is not the best option for Muslim children, but it is a good option. It's not the best option because it lacks diversity. You don't, your children are not going to be able to mix within their communities with different people, different special needs. They don't get to see unless you do have that in your home, but usually they're just with their own siblings. And as parents, we want to be able to, our goal is to raise our children to be able to live and work in the community, the ummah. And that's very important because Islam is a communal religion. Um, we're not about isolating ourselves. We are about going out into the community and helping people and being good neighbors and being good friends and working together. And so schools help that, whether it's a co-op where multi families come together and work together. That can be a school as well. I'm not just your big school and that's the only option. No, but when children can come together with different families and different people in their community and see different sorts of teachers other than their parents, um, that's a good thing, and it helps them to develop um, a lot of different characteristics that are going to help later in life, inshallah. So, but if you don't have the Muslim school, then there is homeschooling. Um, it can work, and I believe in it, and I do it myself. I have done it myself throughout my children's education, so it can work. But number three is, okay, you can't do the Muslim school, and you can't do the homeschool, and you both parents are working, or mom is just working, and our abu is just working. You can't do it. You can't take them out of the public school. What can you do? What you do is become your child's advocate. You become the advocate. You become the champion. You become the eyes. You become the ears. And you push that child through that system with informative decisions. So let's move on. Advocacy. Be responsible for your flock. And I just wanted to read this hadith because it's very important that we frame this in the right Islamic model. It was narrated that Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu said, I heard the messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, say, each of you is a shepherd, and each of you is responsible for his flock. The ruler is a shepherd and responsible for his flock. A man is the shepherd of his family and is responsible for his flock. A woman is the shepherd of her husband's household and is responsible for her flock. A servant is the shepherd of his master's wealth and is responsible for his flock. He said, and I think he said, a man is the shepherd of his father's wealth and is responsible for his flock. Each of you is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock. So, mothers and fathers, you are responsible for your flock. Who are your flock? Those who are under your leadership, those who are under your care. And of course, this hadith can be found in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. So that's important. So you have to, advocacy. It's not something that um, you can choose to not do, especially if your children are in the public school system. No matter what system they're in, if they're in a Muslim school or a private school or public school or even some co-ops or other activities, you still have to be responsible for your children and their learning. And that's important. All right. Next, what is educational advocacy? All right. An educational advocate is a professional who works with the family, the student, the school, and all other relevant professionals to assure that each student receives the appropriate education necessary to optimize his or her opportunity to achieve the highest level of his or her potential. So basically, that's what parents do already. That's what our responsibility is as soon as we have these children. Alhamdulillah, they are a manna, they are a trust from Allah. Um, Educational advocates in the schools, public school system, private school system, those are usually paid positions, not always, but it's someone who advocates for that child or that student so that they're moving through the system, not seamlessly, but with as little as much um, interruption as possible, and they're helping to make good decisions about their education. So that's what we want to do. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. It's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later, the small ways that you can do it and be aware, be present, and be active and understanding what is going on with your child to help the school, to help the staff, to help the teachers make the best decisions for your children as possible. All right, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to get right into it, and I'm going to take out one of these headphones. Tips for advocating for your Muslim child in the public school system. Number one, this is my biggest one. If you don't do anything else, well, there's a couple other that you should do already. But if you don't do anything else as an advocate, um, Communicate early and often. Go to the school. Tell them about Islam and Muslims if they don't already know it. This is the first school or this is a new school that your child is going to. Introduce yourself. Introduce your child. Talk to them about Islam. Give them a flyer, maybe even give them a small little pamphlet. Write emails. Join the Parent Teacher Association if you have the time to do that. Or today, there's email groups like on WhatsApp or Hangouts. Join and be present whenever you can. Communicate with the teachers, communicate with the principals. Let them know that you are there, that you are ready to assist them, and that you are concerned about your child's education. And that is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing that you can do is to start talking and continue on until the end of the school year. So they're knowing that you're not just popping up when there's problems, you're involved, you're engaged, you're a team player. Number one, the biggest thing. Number two, know the rules. Know the rules of that school. All public schools have laws and regulations. Read the handbook. I know sometimes it can be pretty thick, but just, piece it up and chunk it up. Um, Certainly throughout that first month, you want to go through the handbook, the school policies, and make sure that you make some notes of anything that's troubling or that is in opposition to Islam. Okay, because there may be things tucked in there, in those mid pages that um, will raise a red flag for you. So when you go through the handbook, make some notes of things that um, are good and some things that are maybe troubling for you, so that when you are communicating with the teachers, with the principals, with the counselors, you can bring up those issues and be well informed about them. So that's number two. Know the rules. Know the rules. Number three, gather information. Read school newsletters and be abreast of what is happening at the school weekly. Several situations where I've sent out report cards at the end of the quarter, and the parents will come in, of course, and they have all of these questions after the report card is already printed. Um, why didn't you know about this? I didn't know about that. I didn't know he had to do this. I didn't know that grade was going to be such a large percentage. Read the blog or you were reading my newsletter, you would have seen these things. If you would have came to some of the other activities that we have, you would have known those things because I would have told you. So very one, two, and three, they go together. Communication, knowing the rules, and gathering information. This is all a part of your advocacy for your child. Go over the homework, take a look at it. You should know where your child is having the most success and where they're struggling or where they need a little bit more help. Read the teacher's remarks. Oftentimes, I will write remarks not just for the student, but for the parent to read as well. I'll put some key things in there that I want the parent to read. So if you're not reading the newsletters, or you're not going over the blogs, or you're not going over the homework, and you're not reading the remarks from the teachers, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out, and it's going to not look good for you when a problem does arise and you're coming in with all of these old issues. You don't want to be in that position. Okay? Number 4, keep notes. Keep your notes. Make notes of the handbook. Make notes of what's going on in the school, activities, newsletters. Make notes of the homework. Make notes of the tests. And keep that in some sort of file for yourself. Positive and negative notes should be kept. Assessments and tests should be read and kept. And if you have an issue with an assessment or a test, communicate it. Send an email, send a text, call the school or call the counselor and make an appointment to come in. Take notes. And when you do come in, take notes. Whoever you talk to, get their first and last name and their position at the meetings, at the conferences, and school events, especially when you go to the school events, because everyone is relaxed. They feel good, they're happy, they're excited. They're usually in the positive side, and they're showing you the good things that are going on with your children. So this is a good time to introduce yourself to the teachers, to the principals, to the counselors, and to the other support staff, and to build a rapport with them so that they're on your side. And again, right back to that team playing. Okay. When you're taking your notes, include, as I said, names of teachers and staff and support staff, and then dates. I talked to so and so and so on such and such such, and this is what I was told. Okay, very important. So just to recap, four biggies: communicate early, know the rules, gather information, and keep notes. Keep it together. Keep it together. Moving on. Number five, focus on solutions. So you're at the meeting, there's a problem, and you're upset. Obviously, if you're taking time off of work, or you had to leave your children with a sitter and pay them, and to come to the school because there's a problem, you're going to have maybe some agitation. That's understandable. But don't go to the table nitpicking and being petty. Go to the table with your solutions. This is the problem, and these are some of the ways that I think my child, Abdullah, Amina, can do better, or where they need help at. Be forward thinking and ready to suggest positive solutions and outcomes for your child. Don't wait for them to start telling you what your child needs. Be forward thinking and suggest, because you know your child better than they do. You do. They know your child, but this is your child still. And there are things about your child's behavior, and there's things about your child's attitude, your family situation, your beliefs as a Muslim, that they don't know and don't understand and may not even care to. So come to the table with a positive attitude and be ready to suggest positive forward thinking. Be helpful, always be calm, be aware of your child's strengths and weaknesses. Okay. Encourage your child to speak up. Number six, we're not going to always be there. Okay. So advocacy is something that, especially middle school children and up, but I've already talked to children in elementary about advocacy as well. You can start in the first grade, kindergarten, preschool. Model positive ways for your child that he or she can speak up for themselves when you are not present. Teach them respectful ways to question authority. This is the big part. When I was working in public schools with Muslim children, oftentimes, I would see the frustration, the anger, the sadness when another teacher or support staff would question something about their identity being a Muslim child, or question something about the deen of Allah Ta'ala, or maybe they heard their teacher say something that was off colored about Muslims, going back to the Islamophobia. Not everyone in the public school system is for Muslim children. That's the reality. We have to be aware of that. We saw the whole RNC, the Republican National Convention, and the rhetoric that was being put out there by highly intelligent, professional Americans in regards to Islam and immigration, people of color. All of those things are present in teachers, admin staff, support staff, cross guards. People who work in the school system are not angels, nor are they devils. but they're human. And so they have a variety, a diversity of beliefs. And oftentimes, those beliefs will not be in line with Islam. They may not be. So, very important to teach your child to speak up for themselves. My name is Abdullah, and yes, I am a Muslim, and this is what I believe. No, uh, I do not practice Halloween. I can participate in these sort of activities. Um, or respectful ways to question authority. If they have a problem with a teacher or something that they said, the best way to go about that is to wait until the class is over. Maybe write a letter to the teacher, or during lunchtime, or during study hall, address the teacher uh, privately. And this is really this is from Islam. When you're talking to someone and you're trying to correct them about the deen, now we're going into dawah. Okay, so how you make the dawah with someone who is not Muslim is very important, and we have rules and regulations for that. Students should not be, you know, yelling out in the classroom, arguing back and forth with teachers, name calling, big no. Um, and getting over aggressive in the classroom, because then that teacher, not knowing enough about Islam, is going to think, okay, this child is hostile, or this child is rude, this child is disrespectful. Those Muslims, this is bad dawah. So our children need to be respectful. Okay, if you're going to have them in the public school system, the teachers are in a position of authority. So how they correct or question authority matters. So make sure that you're modeling good ways, positive ways for your children to speak up for themselves and to make dawah in good ways. That's going to allow the teacher to think and ponder about what is being said to them. And of course, you follow up that conversation with your own communication. And we'll move on from there. Number 7, really, 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 really important. Building Muslim alliances. Oftentimes, and subhanAllah, it bothered me. It really bothered me that sometimes, a lot of times, I saw Muslim children who were not friends with each other in the school. Okay, so there's 7 of you, all right, in the middle school, or there's 10 of you, or there's 15 of you, or there's 20 of you, subhanAllah. And you all are not friends or companions. Your parents don't know one another. You're missing out. You're missing out on an opportunity, one, to establish a small community within your community, to work together with other Muslim parents in the school, to build up a support system and strength when you do have issues that regards to Islam, or even your own child individually. When you have other parents can say, oh, so and so knows my child. They're together during school. They sit together. They have lunch together, and he's having the same problem. That strengthens your issue. It strengthens your when you bring it to the admin. It strengthens your argument. That's what I was looking for. I'm sorry. All right. So there's strength in numbers, and we know that, right? Because Allah has told us that in the Quran, that the believers are but one brotherhood. And it forces the system to acknowledge you as a group. You're not just a lone wolf, by yourself, putting up signs and begging for some attention, for some help. No, okay, we're 15 strong, or we're 5 strong. SubhanAllah, we're 2 strong parents, and we want good for our children, and you need to acknowledge us. You need to acknowledge us. So if you have other Muslim children in the school system that your child attends, reach out to them. Don't be shy. That's your sister. That's your brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother. This is Juwaidia. I am the mother of Juwaidia. And I noticed that your daughter is in my daughter's class. And I just wanted to let you know that, inshallah, I hope that we can work together this year to make this a good year for our children and help one another. Help one another. Help one another. Very important. Next, talk to your children about school. Okay? Talk to them every single day. As long as they are in that system, continue to talk to them about what is going on, because there are going to be times where maybe a teacher said something, it goes over their head, the comment goes over their head, they tell you the comment, you're like, oh, she said that, she said that. They're like, well, what's wrong with that? Well, here's what's wrong with that, and I'm going to email her tomorrow, or I'll email him tomorrow, or I'll call the counselor tomorrow, and I will discuss it with them. Okay, how are they feeling? um History classes, social study classes, uh, they'll be going over discussing different things, and maybe something will come up about Syria, something will come up about Iraq, something will come up about terrorism, that your child will have to sit there and listen to that discussion. How are they feeling? Do they feel like they're a part of the community, the school community, or do they feel like they're isolated? Maybe that's not the best school, and you have an option of putting them in a different school where there are more Muslim children. So you need to know how they are feeling and what is going on and what is being said, which classes they like, which classes they don't like, which teachers do they like, and which teachers do they not like, and why. So you have to build that uh, opening of communication with your own children or your own child. They have to be able to discuss with you as young as preschool. My son is going into kindergarten, and every single day, what did you hear? What did she say? What did you all sing? Oh, Omar did this. Oh, alhamdulillah, that is great. And you got put in timeout because you did what? Okay, so alhamdulillah, now you know. When they say to freeze, then you have to freeze. Okay, so it starts early, preschool, kindergarten, first grade. Start communicating and allowing your children to understand that this is the adab, this is the mannerism of learning. You learn in school and you learn at home. It's not one sided. It's not they're the teachers and I'm the parents. No, you're an advocate, you're a shepherd. You are watching your child, you are helping them to learn good adab, good akhlaq, manners, and character. You're helping them to develop a love of learning, not just in the public school, but at home. How do you communicate? How do you talk to adults? They learn how to talk to adults by talking to you. Is a great way, a strong way to teach them to be confident, to be leaders, to feel good about themselves, and to understand discipline as well. Was it was it good? Were they disciplined in school? For did they get a timeout? Did they get detention? Did they get a in school detention? Did they have to write an extra paper? Discuss those things. Don't hide anything. Don't hide, don't hide. Let your children know that they are free to talk to you about what is going on in all of their lives, from school to the playground to home, all of it. You need to be talking to your children about that. Number 9 and number 10, of course, very important. Making dua with your children before and after school. And then number 10, praying with your children before and after school. I remember going to public school um, as a young Muslim woman, as a young Muslim girl, and then later on as a young Muslim woman in high school and in college. But I remember my parents waking us up for Fajr. And of course, teenagers, I know, especially the young ones may be excited for it, but the teenagers, they want that extra sleep. But get up. Get up and let's pray together, okay? Before you go out there into the world, and deal with all that you're going to deal with. Let's pray together as a family. And I remember the first thing as I walked through the door, my Abu will say, it's time for Salat. We need to pray before I go to work. So it's very, very important. um, Full circle. Yep, they're out there, um, 8 hours in the school going through what they're going through. um, but gather them in the morning, gather them in the afternoon, pray with them. I don't care if they're 18, 19, still pray with them, pray with your children. Make dua for your children before and after school. you know Teach them different adiyah that they can say throughout the day while they're in school, um, to calm themselves, to focus, to center, uh, seek Allah's protection for them, and make sure that they remember Allah is there for them, no matter what they're going through, how hard. Every generation said, "Oh, we had it worse." I remember, the older kids before me, they were saying, "Oh, subhanAllah, public school was so tough." And then we went through the same thing, saying, "Oh, subhanAllah, it's so tough to be a Muslim in a public school. It's so hard. I don't want to do this. I want to leave." We had no Muslim schools in my city at all. There were no schools, not 3 states, let's say around 3 states. There were no Muslim schools available. And my parents were working, so they could not homeschool us. So it was just my siblings and family, friends, and sisters and brothers that I met along the way, and we became that support system for us. Our parents became friends. They stuck together, and they made sure that we remembered, when you walk out this door, you walking out as a Muslim, and you have to be an example. You have to be an example of good behavior, um, of good words, of good work ethic, of good learning. Um, so the best dua is the dua of the parent. So pray for your children, seek Allah's protection for them. Know that advocating for your child can be easy if you follow these very simple steps. I don't have any questions or questions right now that have been submitted, so I'm just going to very quickly um, go back through the slides, and we'll finish up very, 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 very quickly. And this will be live on the YouTube page and on my blog, of course, author Juwaidia. And we're going to also bonus. I'm going to quickly put this in an ebook. And I know many students are going back to school very soon if they have not already gone back. May Allah bless them. May Allah protect them. May Allah make them successful. May Allah make them lifelong learners. But you are not alone. And these are very simple steps that you can do to become an advocate for your Muslim child in the public school system. Number one, communicate early and often. Number two, know the rules. Number three, gather information. Number four, keep your notes. Keep your notes and go through them. Number five, focus on solutions. Be forward thinking and ready to suggest positive solutions and outcomes. Number six, encourage your child to speak up. Model positive ways for your child that he or she can speak up for themselves, and teach them respectful ways to question authority. Number seven, build those alliances with other Muslim families in your child's school. Don't do it alone if you don't have to. Don't do it alone. Become friends. The believers are one community. Work together. And inshallah, Allah will bless you for that. Allah will bless you for that. And finally, number 8, talk to your children about school every single day. Don't let them go a day. Look at the homework. Ask them how they're feeling. What did they like? What didn't they like? Why? 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 How are you feeling? If it's something that's going on, activity is going on in the school, are they involved? Why do they not want to be involved? Oftentimes, especially for those Muslim youth who are isolated, so many times I've been the only Muslim student in a classroom. It wears down on you. It's not that you're ashamed, but everyone wants to be a part of the group. So it talked to them about that. How do they feel? Would they like to change to a school that had more Muslims? You have to think about those things because ultimately it is about their success, not yours. Inshallah, their success is your success, but you want them to succeed. You want them to succeed, and you want to give them what they need to succeed. And then number 9 and 10, it could be 1 and 2. Make dua with your children before and after school. Number 10, pray with your children before and after school. For those older Muslim students, and I could have made this number 11, if they don't have a Muslim student association at their high school, encourage them to start one. Um, Getting together, having activities, outreach, teaching the school community about Islam and about Muslims. It helps them to build their confidence. It will help them to build their confidence. And it helps to make dawah in the community, inshallah. So those are my tips for advocating for your Muslim child in the public school system. If you have any questions, you can send them to me at umjuwaidia@gmail.com. Again, that's umjuwaidia, UMMJUWAYRIYAH @gmail.com, or through my blog or Google Hangouts. So that is the end of this webinar. I hope you will join me for the Muslim Girl Matters. That's a really important one. I'm excited to talk to you about some of my research and tips, tricks, and um, getting the conversation started about issues affecting Muslim girls in the West. Muslim women and Muslim girls are being attacked everywhere, and that will affect how people feel about themselves. So I want you to get your daughters, get your nieces, get your aunts, and get some tea, and let's have a conversation about what is going on with our girls. So, inshallah, I hope to see you in about 2 or 3 weeks for that. And for now, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.